All right, guys, here we go with game six. Let's go. Game six, D4. Okay, D4. This one basically is the legendary game. If y'all heard it all around the internet. Boy, this game right here. This game. Oh my goodness. Oh. Right, flexing real hard, getting all hype. I mean, this game was ridiculous. Like, this one shook up everything. The whole internet froze. The whole internet shut down. You couldn't even make a phone call. The freeway was backed up. It was crazy. It was crazy. All right, here we go. D4, knight f6, knight f3, d5, to g3, e6, bishop g2, right? And this is Magnus just playing a little Catalan, bishop e7, castle. And then instead of playing Catalan, he like, let's go b3, right? Let's just b3 him, right? Double fianchetto. c5, he takes on c5. And now what we have is a super flexible Larsen system type setup. This right here, in fact, is a position that you can see in the Larsen system, 1b3. Stuff that Nakamura plays, actually he has over a 60% score with all the big dogs with this opening, believe it or not. The man is a monster. The man is disgusting. I mean, Hikaru got a nasty win record with this 1b3 stuff. And sometimes he'll go knight f3 and then trick you and then play b3. Now you're really in some trouble. He says, so hippo reverse? No, the hippo is with the knights on E and D. This knight's on F3. So it's in its natural position. The bishop on a long diagonal. B3 is scary. If you don't know what you're doing, you will get B3 and you'll get your head cracked every single time. Okay, so it's a very strong opening at the right hands. I mean, I've had very, very nasty wins with some B3 games. So C4, makes sense, right? You are challenging the center. You want to make something happen, right? And after D takes C4, right, you would just take it back, right, Chad? You want to take it back? Okay, yeah, we got a weak pawn. But Magnus says queen c2. Psych! Psych! Try again. Hit him on the file with a smile, right? Little pin for the win. You move the pawn, I'm taking those. Easy. So now I don't have to deal with the weakness. I can even maybe attack it again or rook d1, right? So queen c2, queen e7. Right, and then he says, all right, cool, because, Jan probably thinking he about to take. Queen takes c4, right? Because that's why he did it. You don't want to take with the pawn to damage the structure. Why would you voluntarily give yourself a very bad structure? Unless it's an isolated center pawn and you're going to attack around it like a Panov Botvinnik, some type of Tarrasch defenses and stuff like that. That's different. But here on this situation, isolating this pawn literally makes no sense at all. So we take with the queen, right? Or not. He sacks a pawn, bro. I don't know where he got this from, right? But I'm sure the team worked with him with this. Shout out to the team, right? I'm nothing without my team. Like, the whole speech. Nothing without the team. It's no I in team. You know what I'm saying? Magnus in the team, right? Like, it's the team. Knight D2, the team probably got some nice work for him. Put this Knight D2 in action. And, it's nasty right now. Knight B to D2. He got the nice teamwork. Whatever this is, he was convinced. Jan was like, you know what, bro? I don't want none of that. Which I was looking at this when I saw this pawn sacrifice. I wasn't able to actually listen to the commentary, but I was like, yo, that's a pawn. Big Mag out here sacking a pawn in the World Championship. So after pawn takes, right, I was looking at knight takes b3. And after the bishop moves, I just kind of glanced. And I was like, looking at this is dangerous. Maybe it's not bishop b2. Maybe it's e4 right here, right? Maybe it's e4 and e5. But I mean, e5 might not work. There's just compensation, right? Now, actually, let me see what the engine likes after pawn takes. Because I'm very curious to know how he would have played this position if he would have captured. Because he didn't capture it. He didn't capture it. He played, Jan played knight c6. But I wanted to know what happened. Like, I'm like, somebody's going to test you. Right, and I want to know what's going to happen if they do. So after here, knight take bishop d6. I looked at e4 and I said bishop b2, which are natural moves. And these are not it. In fact, as you see right here, as I see, it's knight f to d4, knight f to d2, and knight a5. First off, all right, let's get everybody one time. Here we go. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Garbage. Ain't nobody playing knight a5 here. But knight a5, I guess, goes knight c4. Because that's what they're trying to do. I guess that's what that is. But knight a5 is not even on the radar. e4 is bishop b2, maybe even bishop g5. But and knight d4. But man, right. And I'm telling you, like, he had to, like, this was home cooking. The team right? It's all about the team. You know what I'm saying? Me and the team. Like the team really helped him out here, bro. Because that's some deep calculation. Because it feels like he can just take this and get away with it. If it wasn't Magnus, I'm pretty sure many people gonna take this pawn. He didn't though. Knight c6, he went here. Knight takes c4 and then b5. Hitting the knight, and that's automatic. So he went knight c to e. Boom, knight c to e. Knight b4 hits the queen. We got tactics. It's starting to get a little spicy here. Queen b2, thanks for the tempo, says Jan, as he goes bishop b7 and uses the tempo. a3, I get one back, says Magnus. Give me the free move. Knight c6, now I'm ready to trade. Use the double ops here and just make some trades. Go down, you know, and make a trades. Draw as black. I'm not tripping. Knight c6, knight d3. I love this move from Magnus, hitting the bishop. We got this uncomfortable pressure. Bishop g5 is coming. That's exactly what happens. And then after rook d8, after bishop takes, surprisingly, he didn't take with the queen. I really thought he was actually going to take with the queen, but he didn't. Let me see what it says. Yeah, queen takes is equal here, but g takes is a little bit better. Wow, I really was going to take with the queen and just be comfortable with the queens off going into an endgame here. Pawn takes does make it more weird and dynamic, but he did take here. He did take this way. This is where it got a little spicy. All right, rook c1, knight d4. He took on d4, and I was thinking, yo, Jan looking not that bad. That's why I was like, yo, he looking straight here. This doesn't look as bad. And then queen a2, right? He didn't want to get hit, I guess, with the file stuff. And queen d2 just looks like a move, but apparently this is just hanging, so he had to defend it. Takes. Queen b7, king g1, queen e4, right? He goes queen back to c2. Everything's fine. I mean, everything's fine. As you see, the eval bars is like, yo, it's just level. a5, he brings the rook to the file, king g7. I mean, y'all see how this is, right? And this game, by the way, is the longest game. You see me scroll. This is 136 moves, by the way. So let's fly through the critical moment right here. Rook d2, and this was the critical moment right here. After rook to c8, and I remember watching the analysis. I remember watching some of the analysis, and they like queen d1, right? And it was like, well, maybe he should take it. Maybe he don't take it. Or like, you know, what are you going to do with his queen? Like, or I think even Fabi was like, yo, queen d1 is him saying he's accepting he's just going to have a slightly worse position. That's what Fabiano said. I said, oh, dang. And I was like, well, I mean, taking does feel right. And generally, you do take the two rooks for the queen. Make sure y'all, in fact, that is on the YouTube channel in the tournament guidebook one, right? Talking about 9 is greater than 10. When usually, you know, it depends on the situation. Sometimes the queen's better than the rooks. We all remember that lesson, right? So with that being said, right, we kind of knew he was going to take this, and he does. Boom, there it go. He hit it, and then he split him. Right, and then queen d5, right, hits the pawn, right? But as we take a look at this, right, just take a look at the first off pawn structure. Okay, better for white. Better pawn structure for white. Right, 3-6, 3-6. Same amount of pawns, better pawn structure for white. We have two rooks versus the queen, and then the bishop versus the knight. So actually, this is an equal position. This literally is an equal position. What's the engine say after rook c8? Well, the eval bar is on right now. So the evaluation bar is actually the engine telling you what they think the evaluation is. But we just don't have the lines on because I do like to analyze without having lines a lot. I like to check lines after I got to know what it is. But lines are good. I like to turn the lines on afterwards. But here, queen d5 is hitting this. All right. And this the evaluation bar, though, tells you basically where we are. So 0 is over here. Queen d5, but it's equal. Equal, and then b4. So b4 still equal. a4, nice. This was such a good game. I watched all 7 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah, 8-hour game. Facts. Like, I mean, 8-hour game. Bruh. Imagine playing chess, one game for 8 hours. Wow. Okay, so b4, a4. So everything's all locked up. And the key here really is keeping the rooks together. That's it. Really, you can build what they, the fortress kind of thing, right? You just make sure you keep the rooks together. Imagine playing a high-stress 8-hour game where everyone is watching you. I know, right? Ain't you hungry? Like, they don't have nothing to eat there, no little snack in between. Like, you get hungry, You be burning them calories, bro. That stuff ain't easy, No protein bar, nothing. 8 hours, water, and me and you in the same room, swinging, throwing the hands. After b4, a4, e3, hitting the bishop. Right, bishop goes back to e5, so there's a pin now on the rook. I'm hungry right now. Ain't no way. For real, bro. All right. Bishop e5, and then after bishop e5, h4 and h5. So we made everything all nice and solid here. Now, what I didn't like is the potential here of this annoying stuff. I thought this was kind of annoying. Also, this pawn I think ended up getting captured too, or something like that. That's when Brain Fuel helped. There you go, Vok. Let me plug that in the chat. Brain Fuel. That's right. In the tournament I played this weekend, I had 2 games. 2.5 hours. I thought that was long. Yeah, right. Of course. And they, don't be mad at Jan because he walking around, bro. It's an 8-hour game. What did you even saying right now? Okay, h5, and then king h2. Tuck the king. Tuck the king over here, and then bishop to b2, hitting the a3 pawn. Rook c5, hitting this, and this is what he played next. Yeah, but this was a critical moment, though. I remember this was the moment where they was like, yo, this wins and this one doesn't. Let's actually see. Let me turn the lines on now. Oh, wow, it's a little different now. Interesting. I saw something about this. Rook takes b2, the obvious here, though. If rook takes b2, then queen takes d3, and this is looking drawish. I mean, you're probably going to take this. I'm probably winning this, like maybe, we'll see, right? But it shouldn't be hard for white to draw. But something like, thanks for the follow, BMO, and then HVL. What do you think they eat in the other room? I guess is donuts. Yeah, I think they probably eat, a little snack in there. Go eat a little protein bar, like have some real quick, but you don't want to ever eat heavy, right? That's a smart thing to do, right? Think about that. You're digesting the food while you're playing, and then in hour 6, you about to fall asleep. And you know how I know this? Because I've done it before. No lie. Okay, so after king h2, bishop b2. After bishop b2, rook to c5, hitting the queen. Nice. Thought there was a rook c to c2. Oh, it was here. Rook d1. This was the blunder, apparently, that everybody was talking about. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this rook d1 was the blunder everybody was talking about. This was a very critical moment right here. No, it was right here. I remember it was this one. Before this, didn't Jan have bishop b2 a couple moves before? Are you talking about Jan having bishop b2 a couple moves before? Here? Oh yeah, he did actually. He played bishop e5. He played bishop e5, but bishop e2 apparently is a little bit better right now. Insane. Maybe he just didn't see it. Apparently it's a little bit better. You can see it here on the screen, but that's probably why he did play. He played the rook d1. But fast forwarding here, so he did have it before. I'm sure they probably mentioned that in the commentary. So rook c5, rook back to d1, and here, oh, it was right here. So this move, yeah, there it is, rook c to c2. But I guess after waiting, I thought it was a higher evaluation. At first, I had a much higher evaluation. When I first glanced at it, maybe that was like the day of. It was like +2, but after so many times, I'm assuming being here, it now goes to zeros. So rook d1 is just fine. Bishop takes a3. Rook takes b5. I still got the 2 rooks. Queen d7, rook c5. I mean, I like it. Like, you have to remember this, right? And then we already say this too for the last video for game 5. Game 5 was talking about how is everything all defended, right? The greatest player, they make sure everything is defended. Now, in this case, this bishop's not, and this is defended though. But Magnus' pieces are all defended. Besides this rook, but that can be defended due to an x-ray. So that's like very nice to understand this. Defending the rook. e5, where does she go? Rook to c2. Maybe here. Maybe here. Try to win this pawn. Interesting. It also can be captured here. He didn't do it. Oh my goodness. And I'm looking at the line and it's right here. Let me turn it off, by the way. But I literally was just like, can I just take this? As black, that's exactly what I was thought. Like, this is pinned. He didn't take it though. I wonder what he thought. Maybe he didn't like. But wait a second. This is attacked. Hold on, man. Now black's winning. What on earth happened there? Is that for real? That really happened? I wonder if they mentioned that. Did anyone remember that? Yeah, it's bishop takes b4, but Leon played queen d5. I'm sure they saw this. I know they saw this. Like, they playing for the world championship, bro. You know they saw this. So, like, I'm just wondering why they didn't play it. What was he afraid of? I'm really curious to know what he was afraid of from taking it. Maybe like a defense or something. No, I don't know. He didn't take it though. He didn't take it. I mean, maybe they broke it down during the game. Magnus had all kinds of threats for him. Wow. I know he saw it, right? And of course, he definitely saw it. But he played Queen D5, and then after Queen D5, Rook D2, and everything's all defended. Once again, you can't move anything. Your bishop's looking pretty gross, by the way. What's up, Zomni? And then Queen B3. So okay, Rook A2. I thought they was drawing right here. I remember looking later, and I'm like, they still playing, right? E4, Knight C5, and right here, I'm thinking, bro, this is a draw. Like, they still playing, right? Knight takes, and then here, I was like, well, okay, if he takes, shoot, I mean, still going to be draw. They should draw this one. I'm still thinking draw, right? There's going to be a draw. Rook A to C2, Bishop F8, and they just moving around. I was like, this is going to be a draw. Literally, I just thought they was just moving around. But Magnus is the greatest at doing just moving around. This is why studying his games will be like, you know, it's next level for your own game, to be honest. It also helps you with confidence, or at least it should. Or, you know, not necessarily confidence, but more of like pushing on. Don't just take the draw because it's there. Don't just take the draw. Just push. But obviously that could go very wrong. Because if it's a draw, bro, take the draw. Don't be like trying to, you know, well, shoot, they say push on and it's king pawn versus king pawn and it's straight up draw. And you end up losing it because you pushing on. I did that before. That's how I know. I know from experiences, guys. I'm telling y'all what we did here as a Jedi. It has happened. So, right, you know, but you push on. You learn a lot from Magnus. As you see, he just pushing, like, just moving. You learn more by pushing, correct? Rook D5. Yeah, Rook D5 was definitely my first choice. And I'm curious to see why he didn't go Rook D5. This is like an automatic move. Maybe he didn't like this. How is that not possible? Here. What on earth? Now he's win. Oh, he can't go back. Oh, this. I was leaning on this. Yeah, it's obvious. And then that's exactly why. That's exactly why he didn't go Rook D5, because the rooks are disconnected. And it's going to take a long time to get the rooks back connected. And if you disconnect the rooks, this is how you win against the queen versus the two rooks. If you can disconnect them. If you disconnect them, I have threats and stuff. So he disconnect, trying to, but then he plays Rook D3. So in fact, you can't really disconnect them. And actually, I can kind of stay around. I mean, what a clever move. You want to keep them together, but they actually kind of still are together. And you can't go in this way. And you can't go in this way. And you can't, I mean, you can attack this one, but then you get pinned in many cases. And you're not even attacking it. It's defended, right? Like, just such a strong move for Magnus. Next level strong. Literally next level strong. You would think you would play this or this. Right? Maybe this one is a defended square, but this one is like the perfect square. Rook to D3. Rook D3 and then King H6. Rook D1, so he moves it back, saying I can go back again. Maybe we'll take a draw. Queen A4, and then Rook D to A1. Now this one is interesting. He's just saying I can move around. Felt like he was in trouble a little bit though. Implied threats invisible. That Magnus was using a lot of implied threats. Yeah, I mean, and very small subtleties in the position too as well. I like this Bishop D6, King G1, Queen B3. Black not really doing much, but White's not either. Oops, sorry, of course. Let's go back to where we were. This is like way deeper into the game. Okay, so somewhere around here, Bishop D6, King G1, Queen B3, Knight E2. He hit the knight, but he's not really hitting the knight. Play Knight D4. Bishop's defending here. King H7, King H2. I mean, just moving, right? You know, like just making moves. And then look at this, bro. Magnus took it on A3. That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just like, wow, rook takes a3. It really, I mean, like if you don't fight, if you don't have fighting chess, and if you ain't watching this, you don't have fighting chess, and you don't fight every single game to the finish, you know, don't be doing it anymore. Well, let's go. Let's go, Big Hikaru with the stream, my guy. Thanks for the host, yo, Hikaru. What are you doing up, bro? It's like, oh wait, he on the West Coast. Yeah, he on the West Coast. So it's like 11. It's 2 in the morning over here. Thanks for the host, bro. Hikaru with the host. Yeah, he played Rook takes a3, bro. It was like ridiculous. Pushing on, right? If you don't push on, like if you don't push on, Rook takes a3. You know, in your own gauge, man, you're doing it wrong. Stop playing. You know, he really just sacrificed the exchange here to fight. I mean, what kind of, like, that's just, man, that's next level, bro. It really is. You really have to admire that kind of play. Queen h4, right? So you let him do it. Obviously, this is pin. King g1, queen back to e4. Now he says you didn't take the rook, right? So rook a4. So we got rid of the problem, and now you have the problem. And here I thought is going to get really annoying. h4, that's why rook a4 was, I think, very important, right? Anywhere else he has this h4 move, and that was weird. Like, your king's kind of open. The only reason why white can really push for more is because the king is safe. So h4 breaks that up. So rook a4 makes sense, because if you play h4, I got like knight e2, or I got to go somewhere like knight b5. Somewhere where I can take this with check. So yeah, knight e2 is fine. I take this with check and then move the knight somewhere else. I steal the pawn from you, right? So it's pretty cool. He played rook a4, bishop d6. Thanks for the follow, 7 loss. But did he take the rook? Am I missing something? Yeah, taking this rook here, right? Actually back here. Rook takes. This isn't as, this should be drawn, to be honest, but if I'm playing white, bro, look, I am pushing for more. You got the queen. All you have is a queen. You ever think about that? You know, you can't just do it with the queen. I got 2 pieces. As weird as this is, even if I had 2 bishops right now, this would be difficult for black. That would really be a draw for real. Let me think about that. It would be very, very difficult. It would be difficult. I don't think it's possible. In this type of position here with 2 bishops versus the queen, I mean, take these 2 off. This could still be drawn. And if you mess up, you know, you lose the queen, do something crazy, right? But I don't think white would be winning. But this position has a potential, you know, if you coordinate the pieces correctly, maybe knight f4, win this pawn. And if you give up the queen for these 2, this endgame is completely losing for black. Structure is gross. Only thing reason why you're holding is because you have the queen. So rook h4, bring this knight to f4. I have to defend f2 with my king. Every time you check me, I go king g2, and then you have to get back to the light squares again, which I kind of have covered here. Then when you check me on a light square, I go back to h2. And the whole plan is like, you know, take this pawn, queen this one. This could easily win for white. And just having plans. Just having plans. You could win. This is why he didn't take the rook. Like, I mean, as a practical chance, as a human, like, taking that rook is not you can't do it. So he didn't. You did. He didn't do it. 92. And then this got crazy, right? So let's just maneuver, right? F3 happened. And then here, I think, you know, I remember talking with Liam. Shout out to Liam Murphy. What's up, big dog? Chess kid, right? So we was there in Orlando, and we was watching the game. And, you know, I'm like, yo, bro, I think he gonna win. I remember, I was like, yo, I think he gonna win, bro. Like, this does not look like a draw anymore. As a human, like, this doesn't feel draw-like anymore. There's just too many pieces. There's too much going on. And then rook a1, queen b3, right? By the way, this is like 60 moves from right now. Believe it or not, 60 more moves from right now. Rook e4, king g7. And rook e8, f5. We made some more moves. The rook's defending, obviously, e3. Defending it. Then he goes down here, and I thought he was going to take a perpetual or something. I really did. I mean, every move, I was like, this is just getting closer and closer to a draw. It's just getting closer and closer to a draw. That's what I was saying. Queen b4, rook a to c8, right? I mean, just... like, if you think about this, right? This didn't do anything at all. Bruh. Literally nothing at all. Right? And I think Kramnik said that. He has a quote like, you have to get good at doing the moves that do nothing at all. Rook c8. Like, this literally does nothing. And then bishop a5, rook c1, right? So he just moved a rook back. And then he makes rook e5, hits the pawn now. Right? It's just poking and then pushing and tweaking and seeing if this works. Slowly grinding the position. Rook back to e8. Defending. Rook c8. I mean, these kind of moves like this is like what makes, Magnus so good in these type of positions. Queen h1, this seems scary. But in fact, you just get away with the check. And I think it's Jan is like, yo, bro, can we get this over with? Can we get this over with? Rook c1, no check, queen d5. He didn't check him. Oh, yeah, because I can't. Yeah, they might be trapped. It's going to take a while. Apologies for that, bro. I got it from the sound place. In-game is masterful. It's Magnus doing what Magnus does, grind. Yeah, absolutely. He hits the bishop. He hits the bishop again. Ooh, that's looking nice. And so he hit him. And there's a threat. Queen d3. Now, some of these moves, actually, I was in and out of this game. So I'm actually seeing some of these moves for the first time. Because I wasn't able to cast this entire game. Queen d3. Rook's hanging. Maybe just go to b7. Okay, rook b7. Still can't take. Wait a second. Oh, here, that's the tactic. Okay. Wow, what do you do now? King f3? Interesting. Rook here, maybe? I might be winning the pawn. He did. There we go. Bishop there. And can I just take this now? I wonder. I don't think he captured it. Like, why is he down to trade the rook for the bishop in this position now? Because the rook bishop, and which we'll get to that, I'll show you in a minute. But isn't that same exchange as before, rook for the bishop? Yes, it is. It is. But actually, I think the king's a little bit more exposed here. I just didn't like, you talking about this move here, rook here. It's just a little bit more exposed. It probably is the same, but like, look at the pawn quality too, right? I mean, king takes. Right, the quality of these pawns are not the greatest. I probably can't take this, and I still would take white here, I think, as long as I'm not getting skewered, or my king isn't overloaded defending the rook and the knight, right? Because you could lose one of them, and then you lose the game. You gotta be careful. I think it's the quality of it. I like this pawn a lot better, because it's a central pawn, obviously. I mean, push it through, and it can help us. Rook b7, rook here. He didn't take, again, like, why didn't he take this? What's wrong with this move? I'm very curious to know. He didn't take this. I mean, it's just bro, I'm going to take this pawn. I don't care what you say, bro. Like, bro, I'm going to take this pawn. Let me see. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with taking the pawn? So it is move number 3. Okay, cool. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Bro, rook takes f5. Yo, how many of you guys raise your hand? Yep. People in the back, please. Thank you. Yep, everybody. Are we taking this pawn? I can go right back. I got a free pawn, and I can do it again. I'm going back and forth. I'm about to check you. Like, it's just such an appealing move, and the patience here for Magnus to not take this pawn here tells you how much this man been training, and he been top dog for a reason, right? He did not take the pawn and play rook a5. Then he played rook here. And then he takes the pawn, right? He didn't just take the pawn. Let me do this first. And then take the pawn. I mean, really psychologically, really messing with him here. And then queen to d3 takes on f7, right? Who expected this move right here, bro? Big mag, right? Hitting with that mag. And then hitting rook check. And then boom. And now this position. Bro, I was like, I kept telling Liam again, like, yo, he's about to win, bro. He's literally about to win. And I don't care what the engines say. Like, this is insane. For a human to hold this with just a queen I mean, yo, man, this is going to be the hardest thing you ever did in your life. If you can hold this, I mean, you can do anything you want in life. If you can hold this position with black, you can be successful in anything that you want to do. It don't matter what it is. If you can hold this with black, Let's flip the board. Let's flip the board. Let's flip it. You gonna hold this. You gonna hold this right here. You telling me you gonna hold this position with black against Magnus Carlsen? Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. We got people for that. We call phone numbers. They'll be at your address, and they'll pick you up, right? And they'll take you somewhere where you don't hurt nobody or yourself. Okay? So that's not happening. So after rook takes, queen to d5, right? And then this is where the hunt happened. So let's see. It's going to be a lot of just moving around. I don't think Magnus could hold his black. He probably thought the same thing. He was probably like, I know I can't hold this. So he can't hold it. We just going to make it happen. So he just made sure he didn't hang anything, right? Let's watch the technique as we just fast forward moves here. Because literally, this is just a grind. There is no other way to put that. There is not that there's no plan. Like, the plan is obviously advancing and trying to advance while keeping the checks under check. And also, being able to block the checks and keeping my pieces in range that they defend each other. That's a plan. Let's go for it. Also, I need to, make time controls and stuff. Clock was so important. I remember he was living on an increment at one point, right? Something like that, chat. He was living on increment. King G7, Rook D5, Queen A2 check, right? And you're like, oh man, my rook's hanging. Oh no, my rook. And then Rook D2, like, you good. Like, you straight. Queen B1, and then Rook E2, right? So now we're finally about to push. Queen B6, and he stops him, right? If you look at this, he stops it. He just stops the push because he knew what he wanted to do. So Rook C2, he's like, yo, you want to draw, my guy? He like, draw what? What do you mean, bro? Knight D4, Queen H1, and then check again, knight around. Literally just maneuvering, guys. I mean, look at this, right? And then he brought the knight. You see how he's always keeping an eye on the rook. Keep an eye on the rook. Keep an eye on the rook. Make sure the knight's defended. Keep an eye on the rook. Make sure I have enough because the king's going to run in a minute. On what basis does the engine say this is equal? Due to checks. That's all I'm thinking, Daniel. You have to remember the engine can see out all of the best moves, the absolute best, Daniel. Not the worst, not the halfway best, not the I think it's okay move. They find the absolute best all the way to depth 20, 40, 60, however you want to put it up to, right? That's why they say, oh, it's a draw, because you have to do some ridiculous, move that ain't no human. If you find the move, you're going to have to get drug tested. Because you are here doing something crazy to be able to find that kind of move, right? Something's wrong, That's what the engine will find this here, but as a human, you're not finding this draw. You're not. So Queen H1, Rook check, King F6, Knight F3, Queen B1, Rook D7, check, blocks with the Rook, right? We have move 104. There's still another 30 moves from this point. Okay, Queen B1, Knight G1. And this one was like what the heck is this? Right? I mean, just really, really messing with him here. Rook to D1, Rook to D1, and Queen B3, Rook D6 check. King G7, Rook D4 check. Or Rook D4, sorry, no check. Check 92, Queen B1. I mean, literally just moving back and forth here. Oh, wait, here, sorry. So this was a critical moment. Obviously, after Queen B1, he finally said it's time to push, right? 92, Queen B1, E4. Finally, when I saw this push, I looked at Liam. I remember he was sitting next to me. He was in a chess kid move. I was like, bro, Magnus about to win. And I said it multiple times through the game. I was like, bro, he about to win. If he know that he could push the pawn, now the rest is the plan. Like, oh, if I can push, well, then the plan is do what? Do what? You're going to maneuver your king in the right way for you to be able to queen these pawns. You're going to get them up far enough for you to be able to queen and make threats at the same time. Let's see how he did it. Queen H1, Rook D7 check. King G8, he brought it back, right? Get a little bit of time. Living off the increment, got to think a little bit more. Because I forgot he was getting low on time, right? And he was living off his increment for a minute. That's why this game was insane. I mean, this was like the craziest game in World Championship history right now. Queen check, King E3, H4. And after H4 happened, right now, this is how he got the two pawns, right? And check and then move. Now check this out right here. Stop what you're doing. Never forget this, right? Let's flip the board. The engine says this is zeros, right? The engine say there's zeros. You telling me you about to draw this game? You about to draw this game? I mean, you should get, you know, or they should give you a lot of money if you could draw this game. If you find a way to draw this game, you should get a lot of money for it. I mean, a life changing amount of money. Like you can retire forever kind of money. Bruh. If you can solve this right here. You can't do it. You can't do it. So Rook D3, King F8, right? Rook F3. Oh, check. All right, cool. Sidestep. There's just so many pieces. The idea here is I can block with 3 different pieces. Not only can I block with 3 different pieces, this is why it makes it so hard. I can block with all these pieces, and I can also move my king out of check. So not only do you have to find the check that, oh, he blocks, but what if I run around the pawns? And you always have to remember this. The queen is not able to check all the time. The queen actually needs to be able to make a move and then check, right? Do you understand? Every move's not going to be checked. It's going to be check, then make a move so I can check. So when that time happens, when you do making a move, that's the time that Magnus uses when you're not checking me to advance. Let's see. Queen A5. That is not a check. That is not a move. King F2. Queen A7 check. Rook E3 defending. Queen D7. That is not a check. Knight G3. Queen check. And then we advance. That's a check. Cool. Defend. Check. Cool. Right. King G2. Oh yeah. I guess he didn't want to go King G4. Right. But this is not a check. Because it's not a check. What do? Do something else. Maybe advance. Queen B3, that's not a check. We advance. Now the rook is on the 5th rank. Defend it. Maybe we can sidestep. Check, check. E5 happens. Here it go. Here it go. This is the classic moment, right? Yeah, remember this? Do you remember watching this? Do you remember how you felt when you were watching this right here? I remember. Because I was like, he's going to win this game, right? The technique is not this simple, but the plan is simple. When he checks you, you have to just dodge and weave. Dodge and weave. Like weave, dodge. We do it back and forth, right? He checks you, I move. Sidestep, I run up the board, I use these pieces, I win. Queen check, run up the board. Queen E6, that is not a check, so I advance. That's a check, boom, I block with the knight, and I advance. And immediately, it's now 0.7. Now, this is probably, I think, where the crucial moment of the draw is. Queen H7 apparently made it worse. You see the eval bar go up. But again, in this position, you play in black and you play Queen H7. Seems fine. Seems logical. Any human would make a move like this. Let's see what the engine says. Engine says play King E7. Okay, not bad, right? Not bad. Not a problem. Okay, so Queen H7 happened. E6 from Magnus. And apparently, the move here is Queen E7, Queen B7, or Queen A7. And I guess he's okay. Somehow he's okay here. Even that I don't believe. Even that I do not believe, right? I don't believe that black is okay. I mean, come on now. You really think the king, or are you going to be okay after this? Here? Yeah, like, there's just no possible way that he could be fine. That is like, not. It's like, wow. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Let's get this garbage out of here. Okay, so bright starts shine. Yeah, so after E6, there's Queen to G6, hitting the rook. Obviously, he couldn't take it because there was mate. I mean, not mate, but this here takes right, and this is just winning. Move the knight with queen, easy stuff. They checked table bases during the commentary. They said it was Queen E6. After where? Queen E6 where? Gustav? E6, Queen G6. And this was the end around here. Queen E6, where? A few moves back. Oh, right here? No, but that's Knight G7 again. You can't do that. Queen E6 was losing, or Queen G6? When Nepo pinned the rook. I'm still lost there. Oh, this was the losing move. Oh, Queen E6 was not the right move. He was supposed to play what? Queen B3? I mean, but all these make sense. Queen D5 makes sense, pins the rook. Queen B3, so it's not like he made a move that none of us would, flip the board here, right? Look at it from his point of view. This makes sense. Shoot, this don't feel right. Like, what do you do? Queen C2? Are you serious? Like, no one's doing this. You're not about to play Queen C2. Queen B3, maybe. This just seems logical. You want to check this way. You have to think about why would he make a move like that. It just makes sense. It just makes literal sense there. Play Queen E6 though, and this was the end. And right here, Queen G6 was the blunder of the day. That was game over, and he found it. Boom, Rook F7. Because after Queen takes, you got Knight G7, and then that's game over. He could have played E7 too. He just chose the F5 though. Easy way to crush it. F5, Queen G1, and then y'all remember when this happened? Do you remember how you felt when this happened, bro? Everybody went outside screaming, right? It was turned up. Yeah, I remember that, y'all. Like, won the world championship. Like, we're in the NBA finals, spraying all the champagne. I felt right there. It's still a lot of shots left, obviously, but this was game over because Knight G7 just threatens the queen no matter what. You can check, right, and just try to understand what's going on. Maybe we just run this way, zigzag, because here there's an annoying check, but I'm sure you could go King F6. Probably just here, though, check, right, check, and you just run the B1. And the next move is pushing no matter what. There's no more checks. Doesn't matter what you do, check. Right, I'm queening, and if takes, obviously, right, pretty much easy winning. Probably there's even the easier way to do this too, as well. Maybe even check F6. Look at that engine, F6, gross. Absolutely gross, and we just doing this way. Now this is even stronger. After 17 straight draws in the World Championship, and 6 years, we got a winning game. Right? Yeah, that's right, bro. That's insane. And this was but this right here, this was game 6, and this was the craziest game so far of the World Championship.